It's time to stitch summer cherries on our Star-Spangled Beauty ladder quilt. Summer Cherries is on page 31. The fabric has been fused with interfacing on the back and I have the batting. This piece of pink fabric has not been fused with interfacing. From the embellishment kit, I will be using the clear vinyl, and I also need flexi foam. The flexi foam will give the cherries kind of a 3D rounded look. However, this is not included in the embellishment kit. This is one reason I do not cut my embellishments to size, because I have pieces left over that I can use for another project. So I was able to pull this piece of flexi foam out from another project. So let's get stitching summer cherries. I am going to embroidery into my USB and to the background quilting bundle. And the cherries use the floral 14 block by block. And I need the 6x6 design. I will hit set and add. Go back to my USB and to the embroidery files and find the cherries. And hit set and embroidery. And again, I need to move this. I will go to layout and move. I have the setting for my 8x12, but I have a 7x12 on my actual machine. So I will move this all the way down to the bottom and then all the way to the left, again, to compensate for the fact that I have a thinner hoop. I will select OK and then go to the minus plus needle, and I will start with the placement of the batting. I am going to skip, as usual, again, that's totally optional. I will skip the tack down of the batting because my batting is cut to size. And I will also skip the placement of the fabric because the background fabric is much larger. And then I will go and do the tack down of the fabric and the quilting. I do want to note that I just finished Let Freedom Ring, and I am using the same hoop, and so I did not cut this off. I have it hooped so that I can save on stabilizer. Again, that's also an optional step. So let's start with the placement of the batting. I just finished the quilting on the background, and it had the rock navy, which is the dark blue thread, and you can see, you can't really see it. And I really debated on whether to use either white, the pearl, or maybe one of the light blues. This has that floral 14 design. I love that background. And I really wrestled with, should I do it? I decided, obviously, to go with the darker color. I thought with all of these little tiny white stars, I didn't want, too much competing background because the cherries will be, the star of this block. So I really wanted to, but I went ahead and did the dark color. Again, you can't see it, but let's move forward. So the next are the placement for the cherries, and we are going to be using the flexi foam for these. I have my piece of flexi foam that I pulled from another project, and I am going to try to get both cherries out of this little piece. I might not be able to, but I'm going to try. So I am going to run the first cherry, and then I'm going to have to manually stop my machine, or of course it will jump and automatically do the second one. So I will stop my machine and then cut and see if I have enough for that second. So I had just enough flexi foam for these two cherries. Now I did go ahead and run the placement for the fabric, and you can see barely where that placement line is. It's just about the same distance apart as where I've cut my flexi foam. And normally that's a step that I would not run, similar to the background fabric. It's just so close. And look how big our fabric is. So we really, don't really need that step. This is the fabric that is not backed, and that will be put on top of the flexi foam. And then the piece of vinyl will go on top of that. I am going to tape and tack this down. I've centered my ruler over the back and just have equal amounts of space around the batting, and I'll cut this to size. Here is a closer look of these cute cherries. This is one of my favorite blocks of the whole quilt. With that flexi foam, you can see that they're dimensional and they look rounded, they're shiny. Again, one of my favorite blocks.